I got a spicy one for you today. What if we beat Mass Effect, the game series known for its huge number of character choices that impact the story, without making any choices at all? How do we do that? By leaving it up to the worm in our brain, in this case a random number generator being fed into a visual overlay on screen which indicates which choice on the dialogue wheel to select. And we will be doing this for every single conversation in the entire game. The entire trilogy, if possible. In effect, this means we will have no personal influence on the story whatsoever, and Paragon and Renegade scores will also be randomized. Likely that will lead to them evening out and being too low to ever hit the big, impactful Paragon and Renegade choices later down the line. But probably more importantly, this way of playing will very likely lead to squad member deaths, especially in Mass Effect 2. I'm really dreading what will happen there. So let's strap in and get ready to jump into the story of the most indecisive Shepard of all time. Just a disclaimer about music in this series. I've heard that this series is one that is particularly hard to get by content ID matches, so for safety I'll just be omitting music and using free stuff. Sorry, the music is genuinely fantastic, so if you get the chance to play the game yourself, please do and experience it. First things first, we gotta create our new Shepard. I decided to roll with the whole random element by also randomizing every single part of character creation as well. So I just opened up a dice roller app, picked a number of sides equal to the number of possible options for each field, and took the result as is. First choice is simple, male or female Shepard. And the dice decided that we are going FemShep this time. I name her the appropriate name, Wishy-Washy Shepard, because she's wishy-washy. And she has a little worm living in her brain giving her commands that kind of resembles a fish. Next is Shepard's background. The dice said that she is Earthborn and a soul survivor. Next is class, and she's going to be a sentinel. Finally, bonus talent, and she got shotguns. Now we get to facial customization, and as I said, I just rolled a die for literally every single field. The vast majority of the fields have 31 options, so I rolled a D31 for those. And ready for the final result? Drum roll, please. Here she is, our beautiful new wishy-washy Shepard, ready for military service. I'm going with veteran difficulty here. The point isn't really to make the game more challenging, but to enhance the story. So no busting my ass with insanity difficulty. I'll be sticking with something somewhat reasonable. I find it interesting that the intro cinematic plays music despite the fact that I disabled it in options, which is why the sound is currently muted. Ah yes, Shepard arrives on the bridge for her glamour shot. After this cutscene showing off the Normandy and jumping through the mass relay, we get some of our first conversation options. You can see what I'm working with here. If the randomizer lands on something that isn't a choice, I just hit it again. During this conversation with Jenkins and Dr. Chakwas, you can see how I handle investigate. I leave it up to chance if Shepard even attempts to get more information, and sometimes she enters the investigate menu only to immediately leave it, as the brainworm commands.
The captain's waiting for me.
Going forward, if I leave a conversation early, that's it. No more talking to that person. At least unless the game prompts me to do so for some other reason. This is to prevent multiple attempts at flagging quests. I want to keep it so that if a quest is refused, it stays that way. After Shepard visits the Turian Spectre Nihilus, she learns about what's going on here. Shepard is informed she is up for consideration to be the first human Spectre, and this mission is part of her assessment. At first, they assume it will be a simple pickup of a Prothean artifact from a human colony. But as they get near, Joker calls and informs them that things aren't what they seem down on Eden Prime. They received footage of the colony being attacked by a huge, intimidating ship. Anderson says it best.
This mission just got a lot more complicated.
Shepard readies her strike team of Kaidan and Jenkins. As they get ready to drop, Nihilus jumps early so he can scout ahead, and this is the last time anybody ever saw him. After fumbling with the controls a bit, it's been a long time, alright? Shepard heads into the next area and, well, there goes Jenkins.
We'll see that he receives a proper service once the mission is complete, but I need you to stay focused.
The squad presses ahead through more combat tutorials and runs into a soldier in distress. Here, we meet our next squad member, Ashley. At first, Shepard refuses to take her along, but Kaidan insists, and you don't really get an option to say no. This is where we hear who the enemy is, the Geth. Shepard tries to probe Ashley a bit for information and really insists on hearing what happened leading up to the attack.
Describe what happened leading up to the attack.
I'll take this moment to mention one thing I will not be randomizing, and that is level ups. Honestly, this is just for my own sanity. The challenge isn't about the combat anyway, and I want to smooth out the action sections to get to the more impactful story beats. But since Shepard did randomly get shotguns in her kit, I decided to lean into that and pick up Carnage, which is a decent long-range tool to complement her short-range shotguns. I'll be skipping over most of the micromanaging of the party throughout this run, unless it becomes particularly meaningful. The party of Shepard, Kaidan, and Ashley keep pushing forward through Eden Prime towards where the beacon is. When they arrive, they find that the beacon has already been relocated. Up the hill, Kaidan has a premonition right before the first Husk encounter. Crazy that Husks have shields in this game, since they are the weakest, most basic foe in the other two games. It has been a decently long while since I played this game, so I forgot how overriding works and failed the first override minigame. Smart move, I know. And you don't even get enough Omnigel to try again. Oh well, I'm fairly sure nothing I pick up in the tutorial zone is going to be all that significant anyway. The team presses on, and a scene plays with Nihilus scouting ahead where he runs into his old buddy, Saren. Why wouldn't he suspect this guy at all? Like, he even looks like he's the big bad. Hard to feel sorry for someone with this little narrative awareness. R.I.P. in peace, buddy Nihilus. We hardly knew ye. The squad finds Nihilus dead when they reach the scene soon after, and then a sneaky fella hiding behind the crates shows up and tells the story. Good thing he was there, else I don't think the story would have ever happened, to be honest. Like, unsung hero of Mass Effect, Powell. Nobody would have known it was Saren without him. Exploring the town a bit after clearing out the Geth, Shepard finds some farmers hiding out in a barn or something. The worm smiles upon us today because it manages to choose the conversation options to learn about and obtain the bonus pistol from these guys. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but nice to succeed at something like this. The squad fights through some more Geth blocking the train and board it to get to where the beacon was taken, only to find a bunch more Geth, this time planting massive bombs all around. Shepard runs around disarming all the bombs and shooting Geth in the chest with a shotgun along the way. Then, once all the bombs are taken care of, she clears out the dock and finally gets to the beacon. Why it's still here but Saren isn't is a mystery to me. He could have just taken it. Or destroyed it? Kaidan gets a little too close to the beacon and almost gets sucked in before Shepard makes a Paragon interrupt or something and saves him. This causes her to get sucked in instead and receive the vision from the Protheans. Man, what a different game this would have been if Kaidan got the vision instead. After seeing some nightmare fuel courtesy of the Protheans, the beacon blows up and Shepard is knocked unconscious, which is where we leave her for the moment. A few, 15, hours later, Shepard wakes up in the infirmary on the Normandy. She gets a little testy with Kaidan that he chose to bring her aboard the ship instead of a local hospital. Then, she describes what she saw in the beacon's vision just in time for Anderson to show up and debrief. Shepard was really beaten up about poor Jenkins.
I don't like soldiers dying under my command.
Really, really beaten up.
I don't like soldiers dying under my command.
Did I say how beaten up she was?
I don't like soldiers dying under my command.
Anderson talks about Saren and outlines how much of a problem it is that he is attacking human colonies. See, the guy is a bona fide human racist. Lingering resentments from the early war between the Turians and humans, probably. Shepard tells Anderson about her vision, and they decide they need to go to the council with all this. Both Shepard's vision and Saren's treachery. With that decided, Shepard goes off to see how her squad mates are holding up. She checks in on Kaidan first, standing around in the mess hall outside the infirmary. She laments the death of Jenkins even more. She's just so beaten up about it. She learns a little about Kaidan, but otherwise she just moves on and speaks to Dr. Chakwas, and this conversation goes nowhere, literally.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
Next up is Ashley. Ashley seems a bit pissed, but Shepard has no interest in prying further about her bad mood.
Let's just leave it at that.
I need to go speak with Joker.
Well, see you later then, Ash. In the vehicle bay, there is a requisition officer who runs a nice shop. Shepard managed to get into the shopping interface by pure chance, so I picked up the Metagel and Grenade upgrades since they're cheap and permanent. After inspecting all the various bits and bobs in the lower decks, Shepard returns upstairs to advance the plot by speaking to Joker. There are no choices in this conversation, just Joker showing off his piloting as the Normandy approaches the Citadel. Once again, there is music in this scene against my wishes, so just gonna mute that. The setting shifts to the Presidium, ritzy high-class garden of the Citadel. In Ambassador Udina's office, the Council is busy arguing with Udina about the Saren situation. We learn that the Council agreed to hold a hearing about Saren having gone rogue, but they don't look too convinced yet. Shepard declares that Saren is going down whether the Council agrees to help or not.
They won't stop Saren, I will.
In his office, there is a locked computer. This is an example of something I'll claim as free quests, since there isn't a choice other than not click. So I hack the computer and get a new quest in my log to visit later. On the other hand, if I speak to a character who ordinarily gives a quest, and during the course of that conversation leave it early or flat out refuse the quest, then that's it. No takesies backsies. That quest is lost. Fortunately, there are several quests that have multiple ways to flag them, so that will help mitigate the risk a little bit. Shepard pops into the various rooms around the embassies and introduces herself to several other species, but most of these conversations go nowhere, so she learns basically nothing. Oh well. There's another freebie to pick up in Executor Palin's office on another locked computer, so I grab that. Several characters around here mention a character who is only referred to as the Consort. They don't really say what she does, and the conversations don't go anywhere yet. Other than that, not much to see here quite yet. Moving across the bridge, Shepard finds the office of the aforementioned Consort. At first, this conversation immediately ends, and I figured that was that. But it turns out you get called into her office regardless of what you choose here. So, taking the invitation, Shepard heads on up to visit the Consort. In her office, the Consort puts on the moves to convince Shepard to help her with a problem. The problem, an old crusty Turian general is talking trash about her in a seedy bar downtown, and she wants him placated so he stops doing that. This was a close call here. Shepard initially refuses the quest, but the Consort gives another chance to say yes, and I guess the worm changed its mind because this time Shepard says yes. Quest successfully flagged. Very nice. There is a little bit of wandering around the Presidium here, but nothing possible to achieve until speaking with the Council, so up the elevator we go. My boy Garrus is waiting outside, and Shepard talks to him.
Of the CSEC investigation into Saren.
Sounds like you came up empty.
Hey, Shep, watch your tone with my boy. No need to get rude here. Anderson is waiting at the top of the stairs for Shepard to start the Council hearing. This is some political nonsense. It really doesn't matter what you choose in the conversations here. Shepard is always going to get shut down and Saren let free. After the Council shake their heads and declare the hearing over, Udina and Anderson discuss their next moves. Kaidan mentions Garrus as a possible lead, and Udina is actually somewhat helpful because he points Shepard in the right direction on how to find him. Then, when Shepard successfully probes Anderson for another lead, he suggests an agent of the Shadow Broker hanging out on the Presidium. This will ultimately lead to meeting another squad member, which is good news. Shepard heads back down the stairs and runs into a shifty Salarian doing something naughty. He's messing with the Keepers. This is a big no-no in Citadel law, and Ashley caught him red-handed. When Shepard gets him to admit what he was doing, he says he was just scanning them, opening up the opportunity to help with this task, to which Shepard doesn't get the hint and leaves without getting the quest. Oh well, can't win them all.
I'm going.
So long.
Back down the elevator then, going to check up on that Shadow Broker lead first since it's closer. Or am I? What's this? My quest senses are tingling. This Hanar here is having a dispute with this Turian cop, who says it is against the law to proselytize on the Presidium. Or at least, it is against the law to do it without purchasing the proper documentation first. Shepard talks to the officer first to get a grasp of the situation, then the Hanar to hear its side. And that is when things go in circles for a while. See, there is a way to solve this by purchasing the permit, but getting to that conversation option has been a bit troublesome. I tried talking to the Hanar, then the officer, then the Hanar again, and back and forth and back and forth. Offering to buy the permit with the officer doesn't lead anywhere. Trust me, I chose that option like 6 times. The other solution requires having high charm or intimidate to choose the respective option and convince that character to leave. Since my Shepard isn't quite there yet, after quite some time of struggling to figure this out, I give up for now and will come back later once my stats are higher. Now we head over to Barlavon, the Shadow Broker agent. He is quite easy to persuade to give up his information. Pretty sure you can't fail, actually. He mentions that Saren made the Shadow Broker angry, so that means he is perfectly willing to help in the investigation. And then he points us in the right direction to meet a certain Krogan in CSEC headquarters. Excellent, making good progress. I could choose which location to go to randomly, but I don't think order is particularly important here, so I just choose Cora's Den first, since it was the first one I found. After using fast travel to get down there, immediately it turns into a fight. These Turian assassins each go down in one shotgun blast. But the cool thing is that Shepard gets another level up here. I decide at this moment that, going forward, I will be leveling Charm and Intimidate equally, so as to mitigate any bias towards Paragon or Renegade. Every once in a while, I will be putting a point in each. Other than that, Shepard is going for shotguns and biotics mostly. Basically a Vanguard build, but as a Sentinel. Inside Cora's den, the first important figure Shepard finds is Septimus, the Turian general that the consort asked her to talk to. He is surprisingly easy to convince, even choosing seemingly hostile choices in the conversation. He agrees to back down and become more professional. And then, as a bonus, he offers a quest to Shepard, which she agrees to. Convince the L-Corps diplomat in the embassy that the consort never betrayed him. He hands over a datapad as evidence, and the quest is flagged. Yay. The next person on the list is over in the corner, Harkin. He immediately gets very uncool with his comments towards Shepard, and Shepard is having none of it. I'm actually pretty glad she ended up using Renegade options here, to be honest. Harkin says he will help find Garrus, but first makes some accusations about Captain Anderson. Here's the bombshell. Anderson was actually the first human Spectre, before Shepard, but he lost his opportunity and blames Saren for it. For now, Harkin doesn't say much more on that subject, but he does mention where Garrus is likely to be, a medical clinic nearby. On the way out, Shepard talks to a bouncer about someone named Fist, and, well, she was really confused about who Fist was.
He owns this club, but the customers have to stay out front.
Who's Fist?
He owns this club, but the customers have to stay out front.
Who's Fist?
He owns this club, but the customers have to stay out front.
Who's Fist?
He owns this club, but the customers have to stay out front.
Goodbye.
Not much else to do here, so Shepard starts exploring the wards area to see what else there is to see around here. The markets are pretty empty. Nobody to talk to except one Solarian, and Shepard had no interest in dealing with him.
You want many good supplies, yes?
Goodbye.
Up the ramp is the notorious Conrad Werner. I was dreading how this conversation would go, except it was very vanilla. She signed his autograph happily and he moved on. I guess we'll have to check up on him later and hope for more interesting results. Shepard ran into an investigative reporter by the name of Emily Wong. She asked for a favor, some information on her investigation. At first, Shepard was a little accommodating in asking what she needed, but once Emily got to the point, Shepard flat out rejected her proposal. There was a cute little scene where Kaidan was impressed with the scope of the Citadel, and Ashley was being her typical, difficult self. Upon opening the med clinic door, Shepard arrives just in time to see a thug taking the doctor hostage, and with the distraction Shepard provides, Garrus rolls in and snipes the thug. Then it turns into a brawl, nothing a few shotgun blasts can't handle. Shepard chastises Garrus for his risky shot that could have harmed the doctor. Dr. Michelle here spills the beans. These thugs work for that guy Fist and wanted to make sure the doctor doesn't tell Garrus about a Quarian. Apparently this Quarian has some valuable information, and she wanted to sell the information to the Shadow Broker. But Saren isn't happy about it. It must have to do with the Geth. This is just the lead that Shepard is looking for. Now we know where we have to go. Fist. Shepard is quick to let Garrus into the party, but when Garrus suggests that they find a Krogan mercenary named Rex, Shepard doesn't seem interested. I mean, I guess I could just skip Rex and never recruit him. Technically that is possible, though he forces his way to your ship later if you skip him. But in that scene, you can technically refuse him, and that's that. but I wanted to give him the chance to join naturally, and C-Sec Academy is right there. So Shepard heads down the stairs. She talks to a friendly cop for a minute and moves on. In C-Sec Academy, basically the only thing to do is the Rex encounter, so that's where she goes. Rex seems like a pretty bad dude, threatening to kill Fist right to a cop's face. But when Rex sees Shepard, he comes over to greet her.
Do I know you, human?
Shepard gets straight to the point. Don't get in my way with Fist. Garrus intervenes and suggests they work together, to which Rex is immediately on board, and at this point it looks like Shepard won't refuse him anymore. Not sure if this was a result of having Garrus in the party during this scene, or if it is scripted to go that way, but I didn't really see an option to not recruit him. Not that I have a problem with that. Rex is pretty awesome. My party is now made up of Shepard, Garrus, and Rex. At this low level, I don't really have the points to fill out their builds yet, but Rex is pretty beefy, and Garrus has high firepower. Should work just fine for Fist. There are some more questing options in C-Sec Academy. Up the stairs, Shepard runs into this little Volus with a problem. This is another opportunity to get in with the scanning the Keeper's quest, and she refuses. Bummer.
Oh, all right then.
There is also a little shop downstairs, but this place only really pops off when Shepard is a Spectre, so we will be coming back down here later. Shepard makes a brief detour upstairs to the Presidium to clean up some loose threads. First off, the L-Corps diplomat attached to the consort story. Shepard has some evidence that his problem is a result of the General Septimus, not the consort. But when Shepard talks to Zeltan, the L-Corps, she really just doesn't want to deal with this. After 3 failed attempts in a row, I was like, I guess fate just really doesn't want me to finish this quest. Following Shepard's intuition, I go to visit the consort first instead. The consort simply gives her thanks about solving her issue with Septimus, to which Shepard insists on payment. The consort also offers a bonus, and Shepard seems down. The bonus is just some fluffy compliments. She heaps praise on Shepard on the level that would make an overbearing mother blush. Shepard's ego seems thoroughly stroked, so she leaves the consort shop in a good mood. Good enough to attempt talking to that L-Corps again. 3 more failed attempts in a row. This is getting ridiculous. What are the odds that you fail a coin flip 6 times in a row again? 1%? Anyway, on the 7th attempt, Shepard finally relents and gives the L-Corps the information she has had in her hands the entire time. The L-Corps is grateful, and this little episode of Bad Probability is over. Finally, time to get to work on the main story. When Shepard arrives back at Cora's den, the place is deserted. Not exactly a good sign at a happening joint like this place. Obviously, there are about 100 thugs waiting inside in key ambush positions. This fight even includes that Krogan bouncer from earlier.
He owns this club, but the customers have to stay out front.
He took a walloping, but Shepard got it done with her shoddy and some punches. I don't recommend fighting many Krogan in melee, by the way. Not a safe strategy generally. The first room took a while to clear out, and in the back were a couple workers who went down quick. All that was left was Fist himself. This is like a mini boss fight, I guess. He is in a pretty defensible position and has a couple automated turrets set up. After blowing up the turrets, Fist immediately surrendered. He lies and says he doesn't know where the Quarian went, but Rex doesn't let that slide. So Fist relents and says where he sent the Quarian, to an ambush with Saren's men in a nearby back alley. And before any other conversation choices could be made, Rex went for the kill. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea bringing him along. He kinda made that choice for me, huh? Or he made that choice for the worm, I guess. There is some evidence in the room necessary for Emily Wong's quest, which is still flagged in my journal, despite refusing it, so... After picking that up, I notice a timer counting down. Better get a move on. Back in the main room of the club, there are a ton more guys to fight. Once they are taken care of, it is time to find where the Quarian is, and fortunately, I actually know where to go, so I go straight there. Shepard arrives just in time to see a pretty spooky scenario with this Quarian and her Turian contact. She knows it's an ambush and sets off an explosive to get out of there, to which another battle begins. After taking out the assassins, Shepard interrogates the Quarian, insisting that she quickly say what's going on before more danger comes. The Quarian is grateful for the rescue and says she will help, but in a more secure location, to which Garrus suggests Udina's office in the embassy. Back in the embassy, Udina is being his typical prickly self and chastising Shepard for causing all manner of diplomatic incidents when he notices the Quarian.
The Quarian?
She finally introduces herself as Tali. About time we got a name so I can stop calling her the Quarian. In this scene, Tali reveals she recovered a partially preserved memory core from a fallen Geth, and in that memory core was a recording of Saren admitting his connection to the attack on Eden Prime.
Eden Prime was a major victory. The beacon has brought us one step closer to finding the conduit.
We also hear Counselor Troy, some mysterious other person, talking to him and mentioning something called the Reapers.
And one step closer to the return of the Reapers.
Tali mentions that there's a little bit of info about them in the Geth's memory banks, calling them some machine life gods. Now that the story is moving along, Tali offers to join up and Shepard thankfully lets her in without a fuss. Now we got almost the full party. I remove Rex for now and add Tali, and start building her to be a tech goddess. On the way out of Udina's office is a new character waiting by the name of Samesh Bhatia. He stops Shepard and asks for some help. Apparently, his wife was a soldier on Eden Prime who died in combat, and he just wants her remains so he can deal with them. He asks Shepard to intervene on his behalf and find out what the holdup is. Shepard is pretty forthcoming here and offers to help. The guy to talk to here is in the bar nearby, Clerk Bosker. Shepard immediately demands what she wants, the body returned. Here we learn why her remains haven't been returned. They are being studied for potential methods to resist Geth attacks in the future. At first, Shepard is understanding of the situation, but then the first major persuasion choice finally is available, and Shepard goes for the charm version. Bosker resists a bit, but Shepard is insistent. Return the body immediately. Bosker relents and says he will get it done ASAP. This was a big chunk of Paragon points. I checked up on my totals after. Still kinda looks balanced though, to be honest. Shepard reports the results to Samesh, who is very happy to hear that the situation is handled. So that is the end of that quest. If you recall, there is another lingering quest around here, and I decide to give it another shot. The CSEC officer and the Hanar preacher who are in conflict. But nothing changes on this front. Still can't activate either of the persuasion options for either character, despite having 2 points in both Charm and Intimidate. Shepard hits the Purchase the Permit option with the officer 3 more times in a row, but no dice on this one. And getting to the Purchase the Permit option with the Hanar is a bit of a long shot, so setting this one aside again.
I'll be back.
I promise I will finish this quest one day. Time to see the Council again. Udina is busy showing off his purely audio evidence, which the Turian Counselor immediately believes. I guess they don't have AI faked audio in this universe. The Asari Counselor says she recognizes the other voice as Matriarch Benezia, a powerful Asari biotic. And Quark, the Solarian Counselor, is concerned about these so-called Reapers. But as is well known within the Mass Effect community, the Council is extremely resistant to the idea that the Reapers exist. At this point, I guess it makes sense, we don't have much evidence, but man, this attitude continues well into Mass Effect 2.
If they were real, we'd have found something.
Udina and Shepard try to ask for help chasing after Saren, but the Council refuses. When they start getting hot under the collar, the Asari Counselor makes her suggestion. Make Shepard a Spectre.
A way to stop Saren that does not require fleets or armies.
The Turian resists at first, but they agree. This is the big moment, the first human Spectre officially sworn in by the Council. Would be cool to play the audio here. Really cool. After the swearing in, Anderson congratulates Shepard and they get ready to start the mission, hunt down Saren. Alright, with the first human Spectre ready to rock and roll and explore the galaxy, this is where the game finally opens up with a bunch of optional areas and 3 possible choices for next story chapter. This is also a great place to end part 1 and take stock of the situation. So far, as predicted, Shepard is not really leaning one way or the other with Paragon and Renegade. Thankfully, all the party members so far are safely on board, though there have been a bunch of missed opportunities for quests on the Citadel. Going forward, I think I will try to choose randomly which planet to go to next. The options are, of course, Pharos, Novaria, and Therum. So let it be a little surprise which one I end up going with. Maybe if you have a strong opinion one way or the other, drop that in the comments. In the meantime, please look forward to the continuing adventures of Wishy-Washy Shepard and her pet brainworm who controls all her decisions. Can't wait to see what happens next. Have a great day!